Hello everyone, I'm back again with another Django tutorial video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit more of how filters and template tags work. I realized I hadn't gone too in depth, so I wanted to just run through a couple more examples to really emphasize how useful these things are. I'm going to show you guys how to use the built-in ones, and then right after this I'm going to make a couple videos showing you guys how you can write your own custom tags. So without further ado, I'll jump right into an example with filters. So this is our genres list page. That's just this page right here. I'm gonna change the title names to an H3, and right above that I'm gonna make an H1, and it's just gonna say we offer the following X genres. So we offer the following 1, 2, 3 following, and so on. But we don't know exactly how many we're gonna have. You could be adding some, deleting some. So it would be better to have this, instead of saying 2, as a dynamic variable that will just update automatically, which you can do with filters. So we have our genres, which is a list of objects that we're passing in from our context. And you can use the length filter, which is built right into Django, and that's just going to return a numeric value that is representative of the total length of objects we have. So when I refresh this, we have the following 2 genres. Something important to say, I know I just showed you that you can use length as a filter. It's generally better to use the count parameter, which is not a filter. It's less intensive, but it'll still have the same result. But I just wanted to show you because that is a filter you can use. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys now. So you can see that there's a problem. We're saying 2 genres. It's always going to say genres. So we don't know if it's going to be a single genre or multiple genres. So a way to do that is you change it to genre, and we're going to take the genres.count, and we're going to use another filter called pluralize. And what pluralize does is it takes this parameter, so in this case the genres.count, and it checks if it's greater than 1. If it's greater than 1, it'll print out an S, and if it's not greater than 1, it will do nothing. So in this case, it's going to see that genres.count is 2, it's going to print out an S, and it's going to say genres. So if I refresh this page, nothing happens, which is what we wanted. But if I log into the admin, and I go to genres, mystery, delete, and I refresh, now it says we offer the following 1 genre. So it's going to update that S automatically. It's kind of hard to show with how we have it set up, but with the pluralize filter, for words that don't end normally, so anything that ends in a Y, like cherries, you can add that in as a separate argument after the pluralize filter. I'll show you that in a minute. So another thing we could add to this to make it even more readable is that generally when you're writing out words, numbers less than 10, you type out it. So it would be 1, O-N-E, 2, T-W-O, and so on up to 10. And then once you get to 10, you start printing out the numbers in the numeric fashion. And there's, again, a way to do this. It's not in the default set of filters, but it is included in base Django. You just have to specify it separately. So if we go to our settings, to go to the installed apps, it's going to be django.contrib.HumanEyes, it's called. And this includes about 10 or so filters that just make things more natural. So stuff like dates, times, other things that you read that just make things seem more natural to read, I guess. And when we go over back to our genres list page, we have to make sure we load that. Load HumanEyes. And this is a way that you can actually stack filters onto each other. So you're not limited to just one filter. So in this case, just to show that, I'm gonna get rid of the dot count and change it back to length. And I'm gonna use the filter is AP number, so that's for associated press number. And like I said, if it's less than 10, it's going to spell out the number, otherwise it'll just print the numeric value. So if I refresh that, you can see now it's saying we offer the following 1 genre. And like I said, you can stack filters together. So that was just like a few examples, but just to show you that Django has like very, very good documentation. And this is the page for the built-in templates and filters. And you can scroll through and you see that there's so many built-in just here. And then there's other packages included, like the HumanEyes package and so on. So there's stuff like add, if values for it adds to, centering a string in a specific field, splicing strings, so removing spaces, printing out dates, and it goes on and on. So if you ever have a problem that you think could be solved with a filter, and I guess to reiterate, a filter generally is going to be used for something where you want to slightly modify the text output, so making it all uppercase, splicing it, adding S's, adding periods, printing out a date, printing out a time, like basic text outputs like that. It's good to use a filter. And if you think you need something to do, you can look through the documentation or just check on Stack Overflow or whatever, and you will probably find it. So yeah, that's just a bit about filters. And I'm just going to do another example about template tags. And then afterwards, I'll show you guys how you can write your own. Okay, now for an example of template tags. And just so you guys know, I brought back the mystery genre just because I didn't want to delete it. So if you're following along, I did bring it back. But anyway, so a difference between template tags and filters to know is that filters, like I said, only basically just alter the text being displayed slightly. They don't do too much more than that, where template tags have direct access to the context being passed into your template from the view. So they're able to do a lot of like complicated things, big tasks. So they can do things like they can insert HTML code, they can alter your object by reorganizing it into different lists or tuples or dictionaries or whatever. And when you're making your own template tags, you're basically going to use a template tag whenever you have to do some sort of like complex Python code. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys a kind of like complicated example that I think emphasizes pretty well the power of template tags. So what I want to do is I want to print out all the books associated with the fantasy genre, the mystery genre, and whatever other genres we could have. And it's going to print them out in a list below the genre. Now that wouldn't really be that useful in this instance, but as a demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So right here, the tag we're going to be using is called the Regroup tag. So we're going to use our % syntax, regroup. And regroup takes 3 arguments. So it takes the objects you want to regroup. So in this case, it's going to be books. And then the parameter that you want to regroup by. So we're going to regroup it by the genre parameter and the name of the resulting list. So we're going to call it genre list. So what regroup does is it returns a list of tuples, named tuples that are associated with the parameter that's being regrouped by, and a list of the resultants. So it'd be like the grouping parameter would be mystery, and then it would be all the mystery books would be the list. So this is going to return this as the genre list, and now we can say, instead of for genre and genres, we're going to say for genre and genre list. And to print out the name of the genres, instead of genre.topic, we have to do genre.grouper. So again, it's kind of complicated, I guess, to hear it, but the genre that we're calling here is the named tuple, and to get the actual genre object, we have to call the grouper, because they're being grouped by their genre, which is a different instance. So now this is basically just calling genre before, and now we could call genre.topic, or we could just leave it as genre. It doesn't really matter, but that's calling the name. And now to print out the books, I'm going to make a list tag, and then inside this we're going to do for book in genre.list. So again, genre is the named tuple from the regroup tag, and the list argument is the list of associated objects with the grouper. So all the books associated with the genre. So for each book associated with this particular genre, And then I'm just going to do an H5, and we'll say book.title, and I'll do another list, and we'll do book.description. And just to make it a little more nicer, I guess, I'm going to throw a filter in here, and it's called truncate words. So this is an example where there's a lot, like I was saying, lots of filters to do anything. And this is just going to truncate a long string after the number of words we specify. So if I say 20 words, it'll print out 20 words of the description and then stop it. And then we just have to enter 4. Now I know there is one bug with the code, but let's just make sure this works. Oh. Okay, sorry about that. I did confuse myself, but I was just kind of being dumb. It's because right here we called in the books variable like we were calling in genres before, but I completely forgot we do have to pass it into our view, or sorry, into our template from our view. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that should be good. So now our view or our template will know what books is, and it should work. Yeah, so there we go. So it's printing out the genre. You can still click it. It's printing out all the books associated with it, but obviously this is pretty dumb because it's repeating the genre multiple times, and that's what I was talking about when I said I knew there was one bug. And also just to point out, it is truncating the description like we wanted. But anyway, fixing this is pretty easy. The reason it happens is because when the regroup call is going through and it's creating all the tuples, the way our data is returned back to us isn't in order. So it ends up matching fantasy, all the fantasy books, and then it gets onto a different genre, so it makes a new tuple. But then some of the fantasy books got returned later, and then it makes another new tuple for fantasy, and that's basically how it ends up happening. So the way we have to fix it is through ordering our callback, which is pretty easy. I'm not sure if I went over this before, but there's a simple call, and it's .order by, and in quotes you just put the parameter you want to order it by. So if we order it by genres, they'll all be stuck together in the right way, and it'll just keep one tuple for each genre. So there we go. So it prints out normally, and that was basically what I wanted to show you. So it shows you a way that you can use a built-in tag with only a couple lines that goes through making a new list of tuples that you can then access to print out associated objects with, and all this stuff from just one simple tag that's built in through Django. And again, there's tons and tons of these. Like, you can see how long the page is. So if there's any basic syntax that you have to do, it's a good idea just to look it up in the docs or Stack Overflow or whatever, and you'll see there's endless stuff. So yeah, that's basically what I want to show you, just to give you a good idea of how useful filters and template tags can be. And right after this video, I'm going to make 2 new videos showing you how to make your own custom filters and then your own simple and inclusion tags, which we'll be using again for our project. And in case, again, if anyone's following along, I'm going to delete what we just did, like this stuff, because it's kind of dumb. Like, if we had 1,000 books, you wouldn't want a whole list of books, you know. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching.